Okay, we are starting Parshas Ki Teitzei. The mimer begins with the opening line of the parsha. When you go out to war over your enemies, and you will be granted by Hashem your God into your hand, and you will take captives. Now, the Zohar says that the time of davening is a time of conflict. Like it says that Yaakov says to his children that I took from the hands of the Amori Becharbi Vakashti with my sword and my bow. And Unclus explains that this is through my davening and my request to Hashem. So the Mimer asked the question, why is tefillah associated with Milchama? And why do we daven every day? Now, we are told in the Gemara that davening has been established to parallel the daily offering. Tefillah is connected Tmidin Tiktin. The point being, like it says in Parshas Pinchas, says Karboni Lachmi Ishai, that they brought the karbonis in the times of the Beis Hamikdash as an oila on the mizbeach from an animal, in order that they evoke a fire that comes down min hashamayim that will consume the burnt offering. That the chayas of the nefesh habahamis is founded in the characteristic of fire, the yesod of eish, because the four qualities of daimim, mineral, tzemech, vegetable, chai, animal, and medaber, human communicators, are paralleled with eish, fire, ruach, air, wind, mayim, water, upper dust. And eish is particularly associated with the living animal soul. And the characteristic of ruach is associated with human communicators, like it says in the story of creation, by Hiya Adam Lenefesh Chaya, a person was created as a living being, and Unclus explains that that is a speaking or communicator. Now, when the fire comes down from Shemayim, it is subsumed with and combined with the fire that was brought on the Mizbeach itself. What is the fire that comes down from Shemayim? This is also in the shape of an animal, which is rooted in the Merkava, in the division of Yecheskel, that describes the chariot that has the face of a lion and the face of an ox. And this was the fire, the lion-shaped fire that consumes the karbonis. Once the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, so the men of the Great Assembly, Anshe Knesset Hagadeilah, established davening, that each person should be makriv, should bring close their nefesh habahamis, to elevate it and to bind it with its origin, which is rooted in the yesod of eish, and the source from whence it is sent out here, from the loftiest of levels, from the Merkava, the face of the lion and the face of the ox. Now, after it has come and has manifest itself down here in this physical world through the 70 officers of the remnant of the angels called the Ephanim, what happens is it hijacks and it steals away our passions that they should be directed towards Olam Haza and the power and the Koyach of Taiva, which is also a level of the fiery flame. And it is also the Yetzer Hara, which is this strange flame that is driving our impulses. And our objective is to elevate the Nefesh HaBahamis to its origin, which is the level of Eish that is higher, that is to be subsumed in the Merkava, the level of the consuming fire, to subsume and to remove and to burn up the power of Taiva that ordinarily drives a person to material indulgences, that should be cooled off, and then we should transform it and redirect it, that it should be a power of a fiery flame to attach ourselves to Hashem. Now, every day a person's Yetzer Hara is likely to overwhelm him, like the Gemara tells us, and therefore every day we have to draw down this fiery flame from above, like David HaMelech writes in Tilim, that Yomim Yotzeru, that this is what is allotted to a person, his specific amount of days, 70 or 80 years. And his Nefesh Elokis that is within him, that is not limited, because the Neshama doesn't require any fixing, since it is eternal, and therefore it is not subsumed within the rules of time. Rather, it unites itself with its source from the Orein Seif Baruch Hu, like we say in Divrei Hayamim, with the king they sit together. Because it is not taken from, that is the Nefesh Elokis is not taken from the face of the lion or the face of the ox like the Nefesh HaBahamis is, but rather it is taken from the face of man who sits on the divine throne. And the spirit of the man is that which is elevated on high. and the spirit of the animal is drawn down here into the earth, which is the level of the Eretz Halyena, like we describe it as the earth is the footstool of Hashem, whereas the spirit of man is the virtue that is of highest of highest. And a person is given a limited amount of time to invest his nefesh habahamis, and his years are allotted to him in a specific number that the chachamim, the wisdom of Hashem has been given to him, that he is able to tolerate and to carry all of the divine sparks that he can elevate, that were brought down into this world through the Shviras HaKelim. And every day, he's given a new kayach to go about and do his objective. Now, in order that he should draw down this fire from above, he has to first, mitzvah lehevim in a hedyet, he has to bring his own fire. That is his isarusa de lasata. And this is achieved through the contemplation of thinking about from where he comes, his source in the Merkava, from whence it is drawn down, this power of taiva that usually manifests itself in the nefesh habahamis, how it should become totally batal to the Merkava and to the throne relative to the face of man that is on the throne. And like it says in the davening on Rosh Hashanah, that the vision that is on the throne, that is impassioned and is enthusiastic and is fired up, to be subsumed within the fire of Hashem that is drawn down upon them. And as a result, it will be the radiance of this light of love also on what is ordinarily the power of taiva of the nefesh habahamis, from whence it is taken, to stir his heart, that he should detach himself from the tainugim gashmiyim that he is often sunken into, and to be drawn after its origin, to be subsumed in the light of Hashem. And that's why the Anshe Knesset Agadela formulated the Birchas Kriya Shema, two before we say the Shema in the morning, the bracha of Yetzirah, where there we talk about in great detail and we review all of the malachim and the srafim and the chayos and how they are all totally batal to Hashem. The Yotzim Mesharsim Asher Mesharsav, his servants and those who serve him, that this is a reference to the thousands and thousands of creations, that because of Hashem's fiery love, they become subsumed within and they return back to be renewed once again. And those which serve him from the 6 days of creation, all the many, many thousands that are found even in only one battalion and an uncountable, innumerable number of battalions, like it says, is there any way that we could count Hashem's battalions, as it says in Eoiv and as the Gemara describes? And all of them submit themselves because of their awareness and their recognition of the source that brings them their existence. They all submit themselves like a person's name that is not the essence of himself, but it is rather just a slight insight into who he is, and it is available only so that someone else can call to him. It is called the Or of Ein Sof. That is, it is only a slight revelation, like the light that is expressed from the sun. And they say kadosh. This means that he is separated. He is not invested within it in any way that is manifest. For as the pasuk says, malchuscha, malchus kol elamim, that all of the chayas that is expressed from the Or Ein Sof to give life to all of creations, that they should fill all of the world, is not just like the way the neshama fills the body, which is invested within it and it is affected by the behaviors of the body. It's not that way by Hashem. As it says in Malachai, Ani Hashem Lishanisi, I am Hashem, I do not change. I am from before he created the world and after he created the world, as we say every day in the daven. But rather, all of these stages of awareness, all of these worlds, receive their life force and their sustenance and their existence from the level of Hashem, of Malchus, only from the legislative character of Hashem, which is an expression of Hashem outside of himself. Just as he says that from observing our functioning flesh, we understand Hashem, that just like by a human being, his seichel and his midas are the very essence of who he truly is. And his exaltedness is only for what is expressed outside of himself. It doesn't touch his very being. It's only for his interaction with another, which is a minor level within him. So too, the expression of the Malchus of Hashem is only an insight and a radiance of Hashem to the creations. Because in order for Hashem to be a melech, there has to be an am. And this is what we say in the davening, Beirei Kedoshim, he creates the sanctified ones, Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu. They give praise to his name for the sake of our king. Meaning, and now we're on Daf Lamed Hey, that the entire praise and Hillel that comes because of some glimpse of understanding is only about what is expressed, Shimcha, the name that is given to us as a means of access. And this is la'ad forever. It is not invested. It is only something that stands off to the side. Like we say in Tillim, for he commanded and it was created. And it stands there forever. What does it mean, commanded and it was created? As if it was created effortlessly from non-existence to existence through his instruction. That Hashem's sustaining power that gives life and life to it from nothing to something is expressed within it in a manner that is evident. For like it says, Uberuach piv kol tzavam, from merely the breath of his mouth are all of his hosts. Not that there should be the power of impact that is invested in the affected, but it is a power that is hovering above them. And this is also what it means, Uberuach pi, by the breath of his mouth. As the example of the breath that comes from a person's mouth, that it is expressed from the very essence of himself, and yet it appears to be something completely independent and is not invested within him, only at, again, that our king, that legislative decision-making, to be the melech that we can only know him by his name. And this is what we request, Yishtabach, that it should be praised, that it should be this level of Shevach, this praise and this additional power of light and revelation. But Hashem himself always remains separated, Kadosh and Muvdal.